You are listening to the Gritty Podcast, where we talk about all things gritty.
Hike up the hill, fill the backpack, and go get a milkshake.
Right, exactly.
I have an addiction to antlers. I love to hunt. I want to make films. I want to inspire people.
Wow, this is good.
I'm like, you got to be kidding me. When you give, it comes back tenfold.
All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and today's guest is Eric Chesser.
Yep.
I make a trip up to Eric's house, and we get a sneak peek into the
man cave of all man caves.
Yeah, it's just an awesome little room, a little space that he's created.
He's just an antler fanatic. Like he's obsessed. You know, whether it's shooting big animals, picking up sheds, like he gets after it.
He has some really cool displays. If you're listening to this podcast, you're going to want to go and watch it.
Yep.
Because we overlay a bunch of video and even some photographs from this visit. And you're going to see sheds, monster sheds, and how he displays them.
Yep.
The different mounts that he's got. He's got that pile of antlers in the center of the room, the floor.
It seems like he's always changing it up.
Yeah.
Like every 2 weeks, he's like, I need to move it to a different corner.
The floor that he put into the garage.
Yeah, it's all coated. And
it's got his logo on there from Hush, and the whole thing's really cool. And I've known Eric for a long time now, years, since maybe 2015. I think I first met him 2016. Yep. Eric's just a good guy, a hard-working hunter, just your blue collar.
He's just as down to earth as you can be.
Really enjoy spending time with Eric, and he's one of the nicest people that I've met. I mean, genuinely.
What you see is what you get with Eric.
Yep. Just a genuine, kind, good human being. So I really enjoy. Plus, he's just got a wealth of experiences. Yeah. You know, killing elk are his he just smashes some
humble
giants.
About it too, and it's like, Eric, you have 4 bulls that are just stud bulls.
Studs, archery. Just a really cool visit with him. So check that out. And since we're talking about trophy rooms and taxidermy, y'all might be interested in Borderland packs by Coulter Day, and they're very, very cool. I like the ones by Borderland better than the actual antique ones you find from the 40s or 50s.
Yep. Come in a couple different sizes.
Yes. To accommodate larger mounts. And you can display antlers, horns, furs.
You can change it up. Like if you have multiple animals, hides, whatever. Yep. I mean, your wife decides she wants to change the room. Guess what? You just throw up another hide there.
Very true. And use the code GRITTY. Get yourself one of those cool pack boards. Yep. And you can just mount fur, like just about anything you've got laying around.
Yeah. Sheds, whatever.
Mm-hmm. It's very cool. And then if you've got some Euros that you need to hang on the wall or you need a desk mount, this is a custom one made by Iron Mountain Skull Hangers, and our friend Jim Nacarado. He makes these things. He has custom ones. He has a ton of really cool custom shed style ones, even ones where he has two heads that swivel, and so you can make them look like they're fighting each other or swivel them apart. And then, but he has just your standard mounts for elk and deer and such.
Wall mount, table
wall
mount.
hangers, table mounts over at Initial Ascent. If you go to, is it inalascent.com?
Yep.
If you go over there to the backpack site, they have Jim's hangers over there. I've got a bunch of them around my house. I really like them. If you use the code GRITTY over there, you can get yourself one of those. I really, really recommend checking them out, especially they're not flimsy like just about everything else on the market.
They're as durable as you can get. I mean,
they're heavy duty, and the angles are nice, and when you mount your skulls to them, it's just perfect.
Yep.
They're just quality hangers, so check that out. The only other thing I think I want to mention today is check out Peaks equipment. The trekking poles, the gaiters, and the new Duo headlamp. All of it's just top-of-the-line stuff. Use the code GRITTY over at Peaks. Check out the trekking poles. Check out the gaiters. Especially check out the new Duo headlamp. Yeah. It's got an incredible burn time, run time. I've talked about it a number of times. You'll find lamps that look similar to this. They're not like this.
No.
There's a lot of work that went into the internal guts of this thing, the battery, the powers, the light bulbs.
Run time, settings, everything.
And it's unique in that way. So check them out. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you enjoy this show with Eric. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment in the description field. And if you like what you see, like we said, support us using our codes. You can find those in the description fields too. And it's a win-win for you, win-win for us. We appreciate all the support. Stay gritty. All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Podcast. I am your host, Brian Call, and today I am joined by Eric Chesser from Hush. And I also got over here behind the camera, Brad Hunt, kind of co-hosting over here.
Yep.
I've known you, Eric, for, 5 years or more, probably.
Yeah. Yep.
Personally.
Mm-hmm.
You've been in this space for a really long time. And one of the things I want to talk about on the podcast today was kind of your journey. Because you were doing this before YouTube was really a big deal. Mm-hmm. When you talk about people who started hunting and sharing hunts on YouTube or a quote-unquote YouTuber, were kind of first to market, like way early. And I've seen some posts over the years where you're posting some things and you're like, you were doing this, you would be doing this and had been doing this when there was no social.
Yeah.
For sure. You were kind of always documenting your adventures and what you were about.
Yeah, it kind of really goes back to being a teenager. And for some reason, through photography class in high school, I just thought that was the coolest thing. Back then, we would take our own film, take it to the darkroom, process it and everything, and print our own pictures. So that's kind of where it started. And it quickly moved to getting a video camera at a very young age. I had it at 16. So I think it was the Christmas of my being 15 years old. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know me, I'm 39 next month. So that was a while ago. You know what I mean? It was the old, like high 8 style cameras. My parents, bless their hearts for doing it. I know they had to finance that thing, and they got me a camera for Christmas. And the first trip I took was right here in Salt Lake. I went out to what's called Butterfield Canyon, and it's right out there by the big copper mine. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot of private land out there. And there was just deer everywhere. So the first thing I did when I got the camera is drove out to Butterfield and filmed a bunch of bucks in the velvet. And I thought I was like National Geographic stuff back then, man. Cool. I thought I was doing something.
That is so cool.
You're like the OG of filmmaking, really, like, putting on YouTube. As far as the hunting side of things, shed hunting,
Yeah. Early on, I remember when I started looking for content on YouTube instead of your traditional sportsman show or outdoor channel, there was Hush. Or there was Eric, and before that, you were with some other. You kind of got on some different channels. Yep. Was this intentional?
Like in a way, like for sure. I mean, I always had a vision that I could make money or make a living somehow sharing hunting content, and that is totally adapted over all these years.
Yeah.
From getting hired to do it for someone else's TV show that they use, to getting hired on a big CWMU here in Utah to film people's hunts, and then shifting to like DVDs, trying to monetize it that way with a group of guys I was with before, and then YouTube. So it's always adapted, but like one thing I can say is like I never stopped ever.
Yeah.
And I always knew or believed that it could happen. Mm-hmm. But with that came a lot of doubt through different years, whether it was personal doubt or dating someone who told you were crazy to think you could, raise a family one day making videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely come with its ups and downs, but I always knew like it's happening. Other people are doing it. So like, why can't I be that guy?
Yeah.
So I always knew it could happen.
A couple of weeks ago at church, the young men, I should say, they contacted me and said, "Hey, we want to get together and have you do like a little seminar with us if you don't mind, and tell us about this journey that you've been on. How do we become YouTubers? How do we become Instagrammers? How do we become, how do we build a brand and all of this kind of stuff?" And one of the things I did tell them was, "Are you sure? Mm-hmm. Are you sure you want to do it? Because it sounds sexy, but you really kind of to do it and to exceed, to excel, and to separate yourself from all the people that are also out there doing it. There has to be a true passion for it."
Yeah, I agree, because they see the stuff that you get and they want that, but they don't know what you have to do behind the scenes to get that, right?
Right.
And so the entrepreneur side of things is super important, because you got to enjoy the process. You know, you got to enjoy the editing, the films, creating the content. Like, you got to enjoy the whole behind the scenes stuff, or else you're just not going to excel at it, especially if you judge your success on like likes, followers, money, etc.
You know, when they do personality tests, that one of the through lines, the consistent markers of successful entrepreneurs is extreme levels of creativity. People who are highly creative are often financially not successful, because how many awesome film guys or photographers have you met over the years, but some of the best, but they can't seem to make business decisions that are successful.
For sure. That's the piece of the pie that a lot of people are missing. Like you said, a lot of artists, whether they're a painter or, you know, they're really good at film editing, they're great at that, but they're not good at something else that may make the business, make it be monetized.
Right.
You know, I think social media has made it a lot easier than it used to be. Now you can get your stuff in front of people. You can kind of be behind the camera if you choose to. And
right.
But yeah,
but there's just a huge, like, it's a low barrier to entry to get onto social and share it, which means everyone else can too.
For sure.
So standing out is hard.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I remember, you know, now that we're doing this, and we've kind of got what we call the blue book, right? We kind of know how to run the program. If you're able to put in the work and do it, it should equal some success. If you just follow it, everyone's is going to be at different speeds based off your creativity, based off your work ethic. But man, I'm over here like, I've been doing this for so long. Sometimes it's not, I don't know if jealous is the right word, but I'm like, dang, I'm jealous of these kids that just like are popping up out of nowhere and making a good living, because I made no living. I mean, I bounced, you know, I was making no money doing this for so long. So it's kind of like, man, you guys all have the tools now. You can build a website. You can do social.
Or I remember when I got my first camera, and it was tape as well. And I remember taking that, putting it onto a computer, and then trying to edit it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare process.
Oh, I'm with you, dude. Yeah, that's funny you say that, because this channel we're on now is Hush, and it originally started with Casey calling it Hush and with Levere, and it was established in 2011. My personal channel was 2006. And like the first few videos I uploaded, I literally wish I had a fly on the wall to remind me how I got content to computer to YouTube, because I don't remember how I did it.
Right.
It was so difficult. Like, there was no tutorials like there are now, and everyone walking you through step by step. It wasn't just
so early in this process, dude.
I'm just like you said, it was so hard, you know, to get content on the platform, and now you can hop on and have these editors do it for you. Just click your 10 videos, add a song, and
my first
like a pro.
My first video was 2008. That was my first YouTube post. It wasn't Final Cut at the time. It was that other movie app that just came with your
iMovie.
It was iMovie. I remember like trying to make a cut or an edit, drop it in. It would take like 5 minutes between.
And if you didn't save it, Control S, Control S, Control S, Control S your whole time. If it like crashed, you lost everything until you hit Control S.
Yes.
I think too, like going back to the whole editing process and getting it onto YouTube or wherever, people don't see the behind the scenes, like you're talking, Eric, is the grind that goes into doing all that stuff, especially for all these years, you know.
Brad was working at the railroad. He runs into me at the TAC up in Utah, and he's like, I'll do anything. You know?
No, let's back up. So I ran into you. I was like, hey, I'm a fan. We talked for a little bit. Yep. We had some interest. And it wasn't actually until it was after World Championships. Jason's like, hey, why don't you come film for me? Jason Phelps. And I was like, I don't know a dang thing about a camera. And so we ran into each other again at Wild Arrow.
He basically said, I'd love to learn stuff. I don't know anything, but I'll learn, and I'll do. He was so persistent for so long that I was like, I came home. I'm like, I can't tell him no. Yeah. He's willing to do everything for free. He's not going to cost me much. It'll take time to teach him, but you know, who knows? So I was like, sure. And he just worked really hard. And I saw the work ethic. Then he ended up cutting ties with the railroad job and went full-time over at Eberly Stock.
Yep.
All right.
Where he continued his growth in learning over there and honed skills, learning from the guys there like Casey and You learned photography and expanded some film work, and until he made himself valuable. And then I'm like, you need to work for me full time. And here we are.
I think the only thing that helped was I knew how to hunt way before I knew how to film.
There is that. Because I'd taken cameramen that didn't know how to hunt at all, but knew how to film, and you try to teach them to hunt. I think for field work, at the end of the day, I think it's almost better to take a hunter and turn him into a cameraman than the other way.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. When we first started looking into hiring a guy for down here, I was like, in my vision was like, I'm going to find a guy who's better than me at all the camera stuff to kind of like take our videos to the next level. And it kind of led me to my buddy Martin. I just told him at the gym, I was like, hey, we're looking for a camera guy. Like, we're there, we're ready. And he's like, I'd do it. And my first reaction was like, I was hoping for someone better than me. But, dude, I sat on it, and I was like, Martin can hunt. He'll sleep out in the dirt with, he'll backpack in. He's tough. He knows how to hunt. He's in good shape, and he can learn all that. And then he learned all that stuff and excelled way past me when it comes to the editing skills. And he was a great fit for the time we had him. Yeah. But it was the same thing. It was like, I'd rather take a hunter who can endure the out in the field situations and learn the computer stuff.
Especially if it's archery, over the shoulder or whatever. How many, I got invited to go on a bunch of hunts. You two, like say Mountain Ops comes along and says, hey, let's go do this. And they bring a camera guy. And that, no knock on the camera guy, but they really haven't hunted much.
Yeah, it's really cool hearing about different people that have kind of like come into this space, because most people who listen and watch our videos are like, hey, I want to work in the hunting industry. Where do I start? And so many of them start with a story like this of like, someone might just come say, hey, I'll help you at your expo. Yeah. And they're offering, and they're showing up, and they're getting to know you. And before you know it, you're like, dude, here's a person that has shown me a great work ethic and wants to learn. It's like, let's go. And that story is like so common in the hunting space.
But let's get back into your story. So, you're starting out young like that. As you've evolved over the years, maybe think of like the top 3 things you've sort of learned about being in the public eye, about doing this kind of, venture. Putting you on the spot here.
3 things that I've learned. One is that you, like being in the public eye, like that topic, first thing that hits me is like, you can't argue people's opinions. If someone comes on and they're negative on your stuff, or they want to make assumptions of how the hunt went down or how that shot was bad, I've just decided like, I can't even change your mind, because some of the people seem to just create their own reality.
Yeah.
And you can even prove them with facts, but they still won't. It doesn't really matter.
I totally hear you.
So, yeah, in the public eye, like you said earlier, you got to have tough skin. You got to just not let people drag you down.
How do you withstand the criticism and the hate that comes? What was your mental game there?
I would just say that you can't please everyone, and when you know who you are and what your intentions are, and you hold true to your values and stuff, like no one's gonna be able to tear you down. You know what I mean? So I feel like I'm a good guy. Like I'm learning as I go, like some people think, oh, he's a professional hunter, he should never break a rule, he should know everything. And it's like, hey guys, like this is, I'm just starting hunting out of state. Like so many, I'm just learning that, hey, there's different trail cam laws, there's different broadhead laws. Like I'm learning as I go, and I'm willing to share with you guys my journey so I can help you guys through yours. So that's just the thing is, nobody knows like everything, and I can't please everyone. So why even try? Just stay true to my message, stay positive, and
how do you manage forward. Like, let's say they get on there and you just got some guy bugging you on Instagram or Facebook or whatever you use, YouTube. I personally just, it's hasta la vista. And and a lot of times I block you for life.
For sure. I'm the same. If you bring negative energy to my platform, my business platform, or personal, you're blocked, and I'll just delete that comment and move on. Every now and then one strikes me, and I just try to like chime in, and then you get one reply, and you're like, this is exactly why I never do this. Like, goodbye.
So there are some posts where I'm like, maybe I'm just hypersensitive here, so I'm just going to say, answer the question, or whatever. And I throw it out there, and they come back and they go, oh man, I didn't even think about that. Wow. I thank you for replying. Yes. And it's like, whoa, that was worth the time. then I get the other reply, which you get one chance.
Yeah.
The other reply is, you didn't hear a word I said. You doubled down, block, delete for life.
Yeah. There's been times where you just, instead of put it on the public, chat forum section or the comments, you just hit a DM and say, hey, I know you felt this way, but like the truth is this. And they're like, oh shoot, I didn't know that. And they're kind.
Yeah. I will say that you, since I've met you and we spent time together, you are one of the most considerate, nice,
just
genuine people in the industry. 100%. So that's been refreshing.
Yeah.
And I think, it's hard to find that, I think it's too bad that more people don't know those things,
Yeah.
And then there's others where that people adore them. And I'm like, no, I know that guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you knew him like I did,
yeah,
you wouldn't support that program.
Yeah, I hope so, man. Like I always hope that people, once they leave an interaction with me or something like that, they walk away and go, dude, he was humble. Like he was just like he is on camera. Like he's pretty cool and down to earth.
Yep.
And because I've been doing this so long that, and again, like when people see me as Hush, like sure, that's 6 years and that's been awesome. But I do in my life as like a whole career, I mean, it's going back to those teenage years. So from then to now, for me, like this is my normal. And sometimes I even forget because people are like, well, he can accomplish that hunt, but he has sponsors. And I'm like, oh yeah, like you're kind of right. And I forget what it looks like from your perspective to see like, well, he has time, he has gear, he has, tags, like he has network now. But for me, it's just this normal thing. And I'm like, man, why are people judging me so bad? Like I'm just, everyday kind of guy, like learning through the process. But I do think some people just totally overanalyze any of us on social media who have, made a business out of it or whatever. And their perception is so skewed. Like, get to know me. I have an addiction to antlers. I love to hunt. I want to make films. I want to inspire people. Anything outside of that, you're just really digging for.
Speaking of which, people who are listening to this podcast, you want to go and watch the beginning because we're going to lay down a whole bunch of shots of your garage here that is just it's a dream garage, man cave / antler cove. Like it's just cool. So tune into that. Give the video a quick look. We'll lay all that stuff down at the front of this, but this is impressive. It's so cool. A lot of guys envy this kind of space, Here's
a question for you, Eric.
Yeah.
Do you miss the old days of shed hunting?
Yes and no, because like I, when you say that, the first thing that triggers or kind of hits me is like the old days, meaning like I could find a pocket full of whites and no one's ever even been there. But man, like it's just with the competition and more people doing it now, which I think is great. It's just changed my strategy a little more. It's made me put in a little more effort because my go-to before was like hike up the hill, fill the backpack, and go get a milkshake.
Right, exactly.
I'm looking back going, why didn't I like zigzag that whole canyon? I would have.
Oh, I know, exactly.
I'd had triple my amount, But
the same thing is like when we were younger, we did it because we enjoyed it. And it was like, you'd watch 8 or 10, 12 bulls drop. You go in there 2 weeks later and you come out with a heavy pack.
Yeah.
You're leaving these whites and you're just picking up browns. And it's like, there may still be some of those days left, but I don't know how many.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And like I said, the funny thing is I had my best shed season probably like 2 springs ago. And so when people would kind of give that attitude of like, it's ruined, it's no good, I'm like, if you want to sit on the couch and complain, congratulations, more for the rest of us willing to put in the work.
Exactly, the work.
Yeah, so it is really based off what your work ethic is. You could really go find as many as you're willing to.
Well, I think too, when you say putting in the work, I don't think that necessarily just means the work to go hike and get on the mountain. Now, just like the hunting side of things, you got to put in a little more work of looking at maps, picking your basins, picking your locations, doing more of the scouting side of it for shed hunting too. Like it's doable. And
well, I liken it to hunting as well. The old days of hunting. Like I can barely get an Idaho tag. I used to be able to get 2 Idaho elk tags every
wasn't
year.
That long ago.
If you approach it, I think shed hunting or hunting from the perspective of an abundance mindset, then you're going to look at it and go, I'm going to find more opportunities. Yeah. There's room enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. I can make this work. If you approach it from the scarcity mindset, you're going to be like, we need to put a rule here so you can't do this, and we need a season, and we need to do this, we need to do that. And I'm okay with some level of regulation, but I look at it and I'm thinking more people engaged in it is what we want. Mm-hmm. As much as we also don't want it, because every hunter wants no competition.
Yeah.
But we also have to make sure that people value the outdoors and the hunt, or we're going to lose it.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. And, my perspective on more people are hunting, there might be that too, but I think all of us are hunting more. Mm-hmm. I grew up, I got one deer tag in Utah and maybe an elk tag. That's a good point. Right? And there's kids who are teenagers, young 20s. They're hunting out of state. So not only is it film and social media, it's drawing odds, its applications are easier. Right. I didn't know how to fill out a Nevada paper application in the mail.
I look at all my buddies who used to do one hunt a year.
Yep.
Now they do like 5.
And these the younger crew is about this life, right? Like for someone in my high school to be into hunting as much as I was the only one, like literally the only one. And there's one other kid I heard found a set of sheds when he was out fishing. Yeah. I thought it was cool. But now you got the next generation of hunters who are geared up with the best gear. They have learned from all of us. Yep. They have easy access to drawing odds and how the system works. It's way easier to apply on the computer than it was back on paper.
It's true.
So everyone I have followed since I was young, they're exploring their boundaries. It's like, all right, how can I extend my season? Mm-hmm. Arizona late season. Nothing's going on in December, January.
It's sort of like that Steve Jobs quote, people don't know what they want until you tell them. So in some sense, social media, podcasts, your YouTube channel and so forth has kind of told people, you want this. Like some people didn't know they wanted to go to Kodiak to hunt Sitka blacktail on a boat. Then they saw a Hush video and they're like, dude, I want that. And so I do think you're right on that. Again, look, I feel like we've defeated some in the past 6 months, even some anti-bear hunting, anti-lion hunting, anti-wolf stuff. Mm-hmm. We have defeated those bills by having this community. Mm-hmm. Let's be real. If we didn't have this many people supporting hunting, if you didn't have Ranella out there putting out Meat Eater episodes on Netflix, if you didn't have Joe Rogan normalizing hunting as a valid modern day endeavor, but hunting would be getting banned left and right.
Yeah, right.
We'd be getting steamrolled.
Exactly, because they go under the rug. They're kind of like, the politician side of stuff, and I'm no expert. It's like, if we didn't have social media to put out the news, where would that news go? Right. Like, nowhere.
What bothers me is when hunters undermine themselves, like the game camera laws. I have mixed feelings on it. I don't really use game cameras nowadays. I did when I was younger, and I only could hunt for a few days, and so I'd go up and set things up in the weekends, know what's in there. Without that stuff, it was really tough to know where to be.
Yeah.
And to understand the behavior and the patterns of those animals. I talked to Ryan Carter, and he's on a plateau. Mm-hmm. You're not going to glass those. How do you know what's there?
You don't see them.
Right.
The cameras are everything, and you understand patterns and where they go. And he has a base of knowledge that's deep because he's been running hundreds of cameras for years. It almost benefits him because the new guy that comes along, how's he going to know what's in there? Mm-hmm. How's he going to know their patterns and their haunts and where they go? He holds in one sense, him and a few other guys now hold the keys to the kingdom if you want to kill a bull in the boulder.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I don't like regulation in general. But
I'm with you there. The only hunt that I could say it's really helped me is the boulder hunt when I killed the firebull.
Yeah.
That, like I said, when I saw him that first time when I shot him, it was the first time laying eyes on him with my eyeballs. Everything outside of that was just knowledge from cameras.
Crazy.
There's certain places like that are very helpful. And then, like you said, there's others that are not. And they're a fun tool, even if you're not putting them out to hunt or gain knowledge. They're super fun just to check, the cool videos.
That's what I think. Captured. It gets people outdoors. You're seeing lions and bears, and I don't know.
And I think too, kind of going back to the whole everything that's going on and what we've overcome with all the bear publicity and stuff with people trying to shut it down is as hunters, we can look at this two ways. One way is, you keep everything to yourself, and everybody learns on their own, or people are going to try and come do it anyway. They're going to try and go hunt. They're going to learn hunting. Why not take that and educate them and teach them
how to do it the right way,
how to do it the right way, how to work together to do it. And then as a whole, I think if you do it that way, it's going to be so much better.
Yeah.
And everybody's more educated. You get along better. We're all in this doing the same thing.
Yeah.
We all have the same passion for it.
So let's go back to where we were. Okay. So thick skin, that's one of the things you've learned is you got to have that confidence in yourself and just stick to your guns and just be real and avoid sidestep all that hate.
Yep.
What else? What's another thing you've learned on this journey that's
something I can say that I can attest to is when you give, it comes back tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
And everything we've been able to do through our channel, our platforms, all the nice things we've been able to do for others, it comes back tenfold. And that's definitely something I can say I know is true. No matter what you're doing, if your intentions are good, if you're giving back and helping others, it'll come back to you. And you never know when, and you never know exactly why or what.
Yeah.
But just for some examples, like I've had people reach out and offer to help me build this garage. I made good friendships through that. I've had my buddy Jaden, who's now helping me with my little Antler dog chew company. He just, kind of when you said he was persistent, it was just like that. And I finally called him. He said, "Hey, I would help you cut and sand your dog chews." But he did it multiple times to where I was like, I got to call this guy and ask what the heck. So when I did, I said, "Why are you so persistent? Like, I appreciate your help, and I'm not one to really take favors all the time. But you're so persistent, I got to ask why." And he said, "I can see you're busy and you're just always helping other people. And I thought I'd just see if I can help you." And man, we built a great friendship from that. Mm-hmm. Then it goes from that to me helping him get a job at Hoyt. Now he feels happy. It's just this circle of like, the more you give and help others, it just comes back. That
reminds me of, so I read, before I started Gritty and stuff, I read this book by Gary Vaynerchuk. Mm-hmm. Vaynerchuk. It was The Thank You Economy. Mm-hmm. And then he also wrote Jab, Jab, Right Hook, which was Give, Give, Ask. And he wrote the book Crush It. Well, the central theme of all those books, as sort of a YouTuber or an influencer of some kind, he's like, it's jab, jab, right hook is give, give, ask. The thank you economy is, how this all works. And what he calls it was, the law of reciprocation. Basically, like when you give to others, then they want to give back. Mm-hmm. And that just comes back. I totally agree. That's what my whole model has been based on.
We're right here in this garage, and I'm looking around, and like literally almost everything I placed my eyes on was gifted to me or given to me or an idea out of just a way for that person to give back to me. And I didn't know it until they reached out to me. I've got a drawing right here of the Fireball.
That's cool.
Eduardo reaches out to me like, "I drew this. This is the original. I just want you to know you helped me build a business out of my art."
Yeah.
I've got bone tats. Dude, one of the original bone tats, right?
I remember seeing that for the first time going, that is so cool.
He was hounding me for a skull that he can carve on, and I let him do this one. I literally grabbed it off the wall, European mount, and gave it to him at Expo. Mm-hmm. Then he brought it to my house, and he has thanked me ever since. He's like, "Dude, you
put him
started
on the
my
map.
business.
Yeah.
Thank you."
Yeah,
it's like,
exposed his talent.
He wanted to do that to me as a gift, or for some people on social media to see this stuff is free. And here's one thing I've learned. This is going to be my number 3 on your question, is that currency is not the only value. So many people say, "Well, Eric got that bow for free." And it's like, no, I earned it. Like if they were free, like we would all get free bows. Or Eric got this taxidermy for free. It's like, I know what you're saying, but you're missing the point. Like right. I just helped get him a bunch of new clients.
Yep.
So I may bring value to someone's life, and they may bring value to me in other ways, So money's not the only currency of value.
Absolutely. It's really easy for someone to come along and look at this and go and discount any achievement or hunt you've been on, or to say that, well, if I just got things handed to me, I could be successful too. And like you said, money is not the only currency. There's a lot of value that's not necessarily monetary that is out there. And so 100%.
Well, again, going back to like both of what you guys have said is yes, you're getting this free or you've earned it. But then again, what people don't see is the grind that goes in for you to be able to earn that.
Yeah.
You know, like people don't think about that.
Yeah. One comment that stood out on YouTube, and a user put this in. Someone said something hateful, and he said, "Hey, buddy, if you want a better channel, go build it." I was like,
dude, that's awesome.
Gosh dang, copy paste, like screenshot, like I'm saving that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, if you think it's so easy, why don't you go do it, you know?
And that's the thing that I see too. And anyone that from the outside that just boils down someone's success and discounts all the skill involved in getting there, it's pretty weak.
Yeah, it's pretty weak. They don't get it. They don't see the hard work.
That's just kind of the product of the modern world, though. You know, all this kind of social and the people that now might disparage what you do. It comes with the territory. I get it. I just wish that I feel bad. I feel bad for people that, and it's a small minority at the end of the day.
Yep.
You know,
it is a small minority, and it's the positives outweigh the negatives. The negatives, you know, sometimes are louder or stand out more. But yeah, man, some people just want to believe their assumptions, and like you could tell them otherwise, and it doesn't matter.
People who think that in general are people who are unsuccessful at life. Whereas people who are really successful, they tune into my channel or they're on their way to success, and they truly appreciate what we're doing.
For sure.
Because they're of the same mindset.
Yep.
You know, often I think the other mindset spends their times on forums and they just complain.
Yeah.
And it's like,
I'm with you. Like, I feel bad for people with that weak mindset. For example, someone had commented after I shared an elk that, like, he even DM'd a friend of mine and said, well, they're all on private land. Dude, I haven't killed one elk on private land. You know, nothing against anybody who does. But it's clear to me that he believes what I've accomplished is not possible. And so he has already taken himself out of accomplishing something like that. That's that mindset of, like, if you count yourself out, you're out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's too bad that some people don't have that abundance mindset, that sky's the limit mindset.
Yeah.
And
it's interesting.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about these rack snacks.
All right.
Because you launched this thing, what, a year and a half ago or something?
So the website as a formal business launched in February.
Oh, okay. So this is...
Yeah, just pretty new, but I started it the December before that because, you know, I wanted to give back to my parents. They have just given me everything, man.
Yeah. And this is February of 21.
Yeah, when I started, when I launched it as like a website and everything. So the December before that, I decided I want to help my parents remodel their upstairs and give my mom that kitchen she always wanted. We've had our generation. She's had the grandkids there, and the house just hasn't been updated. And I see that they're going to stay there. They're going to keep the house. I was like, I want to help them remodel it. So I was like, I want to earn some extra money, and I want that. Earn was always the key word in that. Like, I don't want to ask for a GoFundMe. I don't want no one that needs to donate to me or whatever, right? I want to earn some extra money to help my parents build their house out. And so I was like, that spring, I just had this desire. Like, I had this feeling that I shouldn't sell my antlers. Typically, I take my sell pile every year and sell it to an antler buyer. And that's been great. But this year, I just knew that, I don't know why, something was like, hold on to them. I have this garage. I have this space. I kind of believe in, like, everything happens for a reason type of stuff. I was like, this is it. I saved them because, you know, this. So I just put it on social media. I'm like, hey, if you guys, I'm literally on my way to Home Depot to get the bandsaw and everything already. So I already knew I was doing it, but I was like, would anybody want a dog chew? And people were so supportive, man. And I know not only did they want to get a dog chew for their dog, but they wanted to help me. They wanted to give back, right? Just like we talked. So I did that, and it, I couldn't take the orders fast enough. I was doing them in DMs. I was like, wow, there's a lot of people who really like dog chews. So it all started with that, like, giving back and acts of kindness. And it's funny, man. The evolution from where I got the business name goes back to Jordan Harbertson and his wife. They were kind of like, dude, you can call it Rack Snacks. And originally calling it.
First of all, Jordan thinks of all the coolest.
Oh, he's a visionary. He's got the ideas. He's got the vision. His wife was like, yeah, try Rack Snacks. Well, you guys know, as starting a business, you kind of want the .com. You want the username on Instagram. You want to be as consistent as possible.
Yep.
So, of course, somebody had Rack Snacks. I can't remember what it was, but the domain was gone. So I was like, well, what if I spelt it different? I kind of had to stylize it, and I spelt it RAKSNAKS. So it's just same word, just spelled different. And I was like, racksnacks.com. It's available. I'm like, cool. Well, I better see like what RAK means, if that has any meaning.
Yeah. Random acts.
I Google it. Random acts of kindness. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. This is just such a great fit, right?
Right.
And I was like, man, I'm going to launch it.
So you came up with the name before you came up with the acronym.
It was like the acronym popped up. I'm like, wow, what a great fit. That's what this whole thing was built off, to help my parents. And if I can create a business, I can also.
It's like Providence right there. Like meant to be.
I feel like it, man. And this is the crazier thing. So through that research of random acts of kindness, well, it has a day, and it's February 17th. And I was like planning on launching the website that week. I'm like, this all fell into place.
Karma.
So
yeah, that's cool.
The message on that is like, we do random acts of kindness, and by the way, we sell dog chews. You know what I mean? And kind of put that first, and it's allowed me to just go do more good stuff. And people, I just can't. People are so supportive.
What I love too is watching even the Instagram stories and stuff around Christmas time. It's like you're going out. I mean, even it could be as simple as buying somebody a cup of coffee or whatever. But I think, am I right? All your donations that come in from Rack Snacks, you were taking that money and doing something.
Yeah. So we call it the Random Acts of Kindness campaign, and people can donate at the checkout process and leave a tip, and people have left like a couple bucks here and there, and it kind of added up to like $500, I think, by Christmas. Right. So, I matched it, and then we went out and just did fun stuff like tip people at In-N-Out Burger that were up late on Christmas. We went to Denny's. I had a really cool story that I'd never shared. And it's funny because you put out those acts of kindness and you get the audience that are like, hey man, you shouldn't share this. You should keep it special. I'm like, I truly know I know what you mean. But like, I'm the type of person that when I am on YouTube or social media and I see somebody do an act of kindness, it inspires me to do that. So I'm sharing with you guys to like hope.
It's all in the motive.
Spread that love.
You're not sharing it to toot your own horn. You're sharing it because it's meaningful.
Yeah, man. And it just multiplies. It's a butterfly effect. And for example, like I did something kind and then I'm getting DMs of like, hey, because of you, I did that today. And it's like, this is why I share it, but not all the time will it be shared. I also like to share it just to let know the people who tip, like it is going to something good. So that helps that. But there was a girl at the gym that worked at the gym, and she's just this little bubble, and I go to the gym all the time, so it's just nice to see someone and welcome you and be kind. And she was kind of down one day, and I could tell. I was like, hey, are you all right? And she kind of was set back, like, wow, you noticed. She's like, yeah, her car had broke down. And I just kind of at first was like, oh, that's too bad. I've totally been there. I know how that is. And she was looking on KSL for like a cheap car. And through my whole workout, I was like, here we go, opportunity. And I was just thinking about it. Does it feel right? And I'm like, it does. It just feels right. This has never been shared on social media, but I went out and I have an envelope in the truck and it still had some money in it. And I just went in there and dropped an envelope on, and I said, hey, this is for you. And I just walked out. And then my friend did it the next day because he heard I did it, and she was just blown away. And I don't know, man, I love that stuff.
So it's still out there, Rack Snacks. How do you keep up with production? And,
so in December,
are you out there cutting and sanding
all the time, man? I'm a single guy. Like I'm here at my house alone. Like I like to stay busy.
These are dog chews out of Antlers.
Yeah. And it's quite the process to cut them all down with the bandsaw, then sand the edges. And I just do it in my free time and, try to stock up on inventory. How it's kind of been lately or at the first part of it is like I get enough and then sell out, and then I cut enough and then I sell out. So right now I'm just like, I need to stockpile inventory and really get it on there. But yeah, I like the process. You know, a lot of people in business, they may get to the point, and maybe I will someday, that they don't like what they call like in the weeds. I don't want to be in the weeds again.
Yeah.
I love the startup phase. I love the growing phase. I love like the engagement with the consumers.
Creative entrepreneurial part of you.
I like that. Like,
me too.
And sometimes I'm like, dude, I can't do everything. Like, why don't I put all my eggs in Just Hush? Why don't I put...
Yeah.
And so that's a battle too, right? But I love side hustles, and I love just getting something going, and it's just fun. It's like, it's a game to me that I enjoy, and it's not the dollars that I judge the success. It's the feedback. It's the pictures of these happy dogs. I'm like, holy cow, I'm taking these antlers I find.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing some joy coming back that I didn't get by selling them to an antler buyer.
Right.
You know, people just sending me their pictures of their dogs. And
Right.
It's
much more
cool.
personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Well, dude, I appreciate you taking the time. This was a really, really good conversation. You don't live that far away, so we should do this a little more often.
We need to, because I always say this to people, like, Eric, you should do more podcasts. I'm like, you know, I was never passionate about podcasts like I am videos and storytelling and documenting. But every time I get on one, I know we're close to an hour. I'm like, dude, we haven't even gotten to the good
I know, there's so many things I still want to ask. And
so, yeah, we definitely got to do this again soon.
I think that's why the JRE podcast is 3 hours long, you know.
Yeah, no kidding.
Especially when you really are clicking and there's so many questions you have. I have a million. But that's it for today, folks. You can follow Eric over at Hush on YouTube.
Yep.
And your social media, you have a couple.
Yeah, so we're not the best about being consistent, going back to trying to do that. So our YouTube channel is Hushin'. It stands for hunting, fishing, so it's kind of fused together. So Hushin' channel, get Hushin' on Instagram. My personal stuff's just under my name, Eric Chesser, if you want to check that out.
And we put all the links in the description field of the YouTube videos.
Yep. Cool.
And anything else? Rack Snacks? Where can they find that?
So racksnacks.com. It's got its own little social platforms on Instagram and TikTok.
Cool.
No YouTubes yet. Trying to manage so many social accounts. But yeah, if anyone needs a dog chew, check it out.
Very cool. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you.
Thanks, guys.
Stay gritty.